Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a quick guide for you on how to patch your own fonts with NerdFont. Before I show you that, just a recap on why I needed this. So I recently started using the Ghosty terminal, the cool kid in the block, and in Ghosty I wanted to use the nerd fonts that I always use. So I prefer using a font called Dank Mono, and for my nerd fonts I use the JetBrains modded nerd font. But in the Ghosty configuration I couldn't really figure out a way to set a fallback font for nerd fonts. So in Kitty I used to do this. I used to have my main font as Dank Mono, and I would use a fallback font as JetBrains nerd font, something like this. But I couldn't figure out a way in Ghosty to do this. Rather, Ghosty comes out of the box with a nerd font. I believe it's Fira Code nerd font, which didn't work well for me personally. The characters were looking thicker than how it used to look in Kitty, so I ended up modding this Dank Mono font with the nerd fonts, and this is what I'm going to show you today on how to do this. So I'm going to quit out of this, and let me go to my fonts folder. So I've already downloaded the Dank Mono font folder here. If I show you this, I have three versions of it: bold, italic, and regular. So we'll go to this nerdfonts.com website, and if you scroll to the very bottom of this website, you're going to see they have a section called Font Patcher Script. We're going to need a few things before we use this script though, and the steps we can find over here. So we'll click this link here. It says FontForge Python script. Let's go there. So here, the first step what they mention is to create, or rather download a script and its helper file. So they have an archive over here, so I'm going to copy this link and I want to get this archive. I've already done this before, but I'm going to redo this just to show you guys how it looks like. So we have this fontpatcher.zip folder here. I'm going to unzip it to a directory called patcher. Once I do that, we have our patcher directory here. Now if you look at this directory, we have a binary here called font patcher, and this is what we will need when we patch our fonts in the next step. So take a note of it. Ideally, this is the way you will refer to this binary is by doing something like patcher / font patcher. All right, let's go back to the website and look at the next step. The next step they're saying is just downloading the font patcher script is not enough. We're going to need a few more dependencies. We require FontForge, Python 3, Python FontForge, and the artparse packages, out of which FontForge can be installed as a package. So you can do that with Homebrew. I'm going to do the same. I have it installed, so it'll probably skip the installation. And let's wait a few seconds. Alright, so it has downloaded FontForge. Python 3 comes already installed out of the box with macOS if you're on macOS, but if you are not, you can install Python 3. You can Google around. I'm not going to show you how to do that. There's plenty of other tutorials on YouTube and Google, so you can do that. What else? I don't think we're gonna need these because I didn't need to use them. Alright, let's come to the actual step, which is running the FontForge script. Now the way we are going to do this is we'll type FontForge, and I already have my auto suggestion showing me how to do this. So I'm going to autocomplete this and explain the command step by step. So FontForge is the program that we'll be using to patch our font. Script is the script that we downloaded from here, from this archive, and we have already unpacked it to the patcher directory, and we are referring to that script as patcher / font patcher. Now we are using a flag called -- complete. Now let's look at the flags that FontForge support, and if I come to this section over here, it says complete. This flag is used to add all the available glyphs. Now these are the actual glyphs that gets added to your font. If you don't want all of the glyphs, you can be specific and add all of these flags. For example, if you wanted just the code icons and I don't know, octagons, then you could probably pass in these two parameters or these two flags. I just want all the glyphs, so I'm going to pass it complete here. Then you're going to mention a directory called out, and this is where your patched fonts will be created. Finally, you're going to mention the name of the font that you want to patch. So for example, I have my fonts in the Dank Mono directory, and inside that I have a Dank Mono bold font, which I'm going to patch. So that's basically the command to run. If you want more customization, you can look at all of these options over here, and this is where the out flag they're showing, which I'm using here. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. It's going to take a few seconds to patch the font with all the icons. If you have mentioned -- complete, it's going to take a little longer than if you are using a subset of the glyphs. So let's wait for this to finish and then I'll come back. Alright, so this has finished. Now if we look at our directory structure, we have the patched font directory, which we specified as the output directory of our command. Now if we look inside that, we have our first patched font, which is the Dank Mono Nerd font. Similarly, you can repeat the step for all of your fonts. You can do italic, you can do all the fonts that you want to modify. Now this process, personally for me, like I'm okay doing this. Like I have just 3 fonts to patch and I can do them pretty fast. But if you have a lot of font files to patch, there's a better option that you may want to consider. So if you come to this repository back, if you come back to this repository again, they have a section for Docker somewhere. Let me figure out. There you go. So here, if you see, they already have a Docker image, and one of them says that specify the parallel task number to 10. So this image here, it can take a directory as an input, and all the fonts inside that directory will be patched in a single command, and your patched fonts will be saved in a out directory that we pass over here. Parallel task number 10 is something that they do, so they will process 10 tasks at a time, and you can pass in other options as required here. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm just going to run this quickly to show you how it looks like. I have already run it, so I'm just gonna get this over here. So we have docker run. RM is for remove. So once you're done with the command, it's going to remove the Docker container for you. -v is volume mount. The way this works is you're going to mention your local directory here. So in my case, I have the Dank Mono directory where I have my own fonts. I have mentioned it as // which is the current directory. So I have Dank Mono directory inside my current directory, which I am mapping to /n/in inside the container. And then again I have another volume, and then I'm mapping the same directory to /out. So what will happen is it's going to take all of the fonts which is inside this dank mono directory and patch them, and then finally save the patched fonts inside the same directory. If you wanted something like, out, you can do that as well. For my case, it's fine if it saves the patched fonts in the same directory. So I'm going to pass in the same directory for both in and out. pn10 is already something that they have mentioned in their GitHub repository. This is the Docker image name, and then finally, if you look at the command here, they're saying all the other options you can pass in here. So I'm passing in the option complete. Again, you can pass in whatever options you seem fit. Alright, but this is the whole command. Now if I go ahead and run this command, again it's going to take a little longer than doing a single prompt, but it saves you a lot of time where you have to go and patch every single font one by one. So we'll give it a few seconds, and then once it's done, we'll come back. Alright, now this is done. It took me roughly 30 seconds or so to do this. Now if I go ahead and look at the directory structure, it should save the patched fonts inside my dank mono directory. So let's go ahead and look at this directory, and yeah, there you go, we have the nerd fonts created over here. So once we have these fonts, you can go ahead and install the font. So if you're on macOS, you can just open the directory, go on dank mono. If you have font book, you can open font book, and once you're here, you can drag and drop all of these prompts to your font book. It's going to show you a little pop-up here which says I have the font already installed, so I'm just going to skip these. But if you don't have it installed, it's gonna show you a pop-up to install. Once you install this, you can go back to your terminal and set up the fonts as you seem fit. So that was it, a quick guide I wanted to show you and thought it will be useful for you. All right, peace out. Thank you.